Hey y'all, welcome back to my space. I'm so excited. I say that every time. All right, welcome back, y'all. Welcome if you're returning. Hey, what's up, familia? And if you're just joining us, welcome to the familia. Sending you a hug. I'm all about hugs today. I just posted for my podcast and I was sending hugs. Feeling very huggy, but that's not new. Anyways, welcome to my brain. Y'all, we've been posting about promises and the promises of God and just how faithful he's been. We're doing 35 videos. My birthday just passed. It was November 28th, and I turned 25. Okay. Clearly, I don't even know how old I am. Turned 35. I am 25 with 10 years of experience. I turned 35, and so we're doing 35 videos for until the end of the year, until the end of 2021. And so I hope you've checked out the other ones. If not, make sure you go back and check them out. So today I am sharing about, man, God has been my provider and a waymaker. In so many ways. Like, I could probably have a ton of videos, and I probably will, on just that. But this specific promise is like so memorable to me because I didn't even know him. I mean, there's a lot like prior to me being saved that he's always been there for me. He's always been those things to me, even when I didn't know him. You know what I mean? But this specific promise is a story about a girl who grew up in the projects, and I've shared that with y'all. But I grew up in the projects, single mother, and if you don't know my story, I met my biological father the day before he passed. But there was an amazing man that raised me from when I was a few months old, and he's still in my life now. That is who I call my dad. But it was complicated. So I always say I grew up with a single mother. You know, he was there and he was emotionally supportive, but he wasn't in the home. So it was my mother and I for the most part. And, I started working at a really young age. I was like 12 or 13 to help make ends meet and just to help my mom. And, I grew up in the projects. I really grew up in a rough neighborhood in a rough city. And my city, shout out to Lawrence, Lawtown, there is a lot of greatness in this city as well. I just must point that out because there's a lot of tough things and tough people and situations. Many times we don't highlight the diamonds in this place. So just wanted to point that out. But I grew up in a rough neighborhood. It was a lot of gang violence, a lot of, poverty and, etc. And, I would be the first one going to college, first generation. And so there was a lot of pressure to go to college. You know what I mean? As I'm talking, another promise is coming into my mind. Oh, I'm actually going to go with that one first. Or maybe I'll share both of them. So this will be two promises. But two promises in one, I guess. But, as I was sharing that, I was talking about, I was going to share about going to college. But even prior to that, I remember being in 8th grade. And for me, I was at a public school, and our only options to go to high school was either to go to the public high school or to go to the vocational school that was like in the town over. And I really didn't know any better, which kind of sort of I should have. But for me, it's maybe that I knew that there was another option, that there was a private school in our town that I could have attended. And I don't know, I didn't think that option was for me because I was part of the Lawrence Boys and Girls Club, and there were people there that they're big on that. They have a huge connection to, I went to Central Catholic High School. We'll get there, but it's the private school. And so they had a connection, and I was a part of the Lawrence Boys and Girls Club, very involved, but maybe I didn't think, and I've never reflected on that. Like, why didn't I think it was an option for me to go to the private school? You know what I mean? Maybe I probably thought I wasn't smart enough, or maybe I just didn't even think I could afford it and didn't know about scholarships. I'm not sure. All that to say is that I thought those were my only two options, was the public high school and the vocational. And I think I can't remember who it was, but probably told my mom she can't go to the public high school. Like, that's ridiculous. She has to go to the vocational because that school's better. And that's where I went. I went to the vocational school, and for a week, for those that don't know, for a week, well, freshman year, you explore these different shops, and they're like trade, like you do, like if it's now I forgot, like carpentry, or I think it was like mechanical. Ooh, I know it was like in like allied health because I wanted to be a doctor, right? And so I wanted to go in that direction. But there's like a series of things that you can try. There's like automotive and um, what was the other one that I tried? Cosmetology, right? So basically, freshman year, you explore all the different things and you eventually choose one. And what you do is for a whole week, you're in your special or whatever it's called. And then the next week you have academics, right? So you have classes. So you kind of alternate like that. So I did that my freshman year. Ma'am, listen. Then I end up, and I am who I am. Like, this is who I feel like I've always been. It's just like really like bubbly and like extra, and spurts of moment where I would be like in my cocoon. But for the most part, this is how I've always been. And I remember I was in marketing, and our marketing teacher was like, I mean, I don't know what I did that stood out to him, but he was like, "You're way too smart to be in this school." And I was like, "Me? Okay, funny, whatever." And he's like, "I'm going to connect you with some people so that you can go to a different school," kind of conversation. He didn't say those exact words, but he connected me to Lawrence Boys and Girls Club, not knowing that I was very involved. I was volunteering at Lawrence Boys and Girls Club since I was 8 years old, really because that was an escape for me. I really didn't like being at home. And so, yeah, I didn't like being at home either because I think I couldn't go anywhere. It was just my mother and I. I love my mama, but she was beyond strict. We won't get into that, but she was like crazy strict. And so if I wasn't reading a book, studying, like she wouldn't allow me to go outside, and I would kind of like have to sneak. I wouldn't sneak out like through the window. I would just like lie and say I was going to the store, whatever. We'll talk about that one day. But I just really didn't like being home. And so I was volunteering at the Boys and Girls Club since I was like 8 years old. So I already had this connection to this organization, but the marketing teacher didn't know that. And so he connected me with them and was like, she should try to go to the private school, like, etc. Long story short, they were like, basically, you're coming from a school who's academically not strong, so you would have to repeat your year. And there was more to that, when it comes to scholarships and money and me being able to afford going there, even with the scholarships, because there's still like a component or whatever. And man, I don't know. But God did that somehow. And I don't know that I was even that academically strong coming from the school, or even, I had a great academic foundation in 8th grade. I remember I kept getting like medals and stuff for like writing and all these different things because I was a nerd. But then freshman year, I don't know what that looked like. And so I don't know, but God made a way. God made a way. Ooh, I didn't think I was going to cry. Ooh. He made a way for me to not only go to the school, have scholarships or whatever, to be able to go to this private school. But I recall also being able to afford the uniform. Like, our uniform was like, whew, Jesus. But the uniform was like a top, like a polo shirt, right? And it had the logo, the emblem or whatever. And then there were like different colors. I'm like, why can't y'all just keep it one color? Why y'all gotta get fancy? And then the pants had to be dress pants as long as I think it was like black, khaki. There was like specific colors. But I could only afford Ah, Jesus, I'm legit boo-hooing y'all because to have lived that, um, to have lived that and to have lived everything in between and to be where I am now, man, it's tears of joy because God is so faithful. God is so faithful. All right, Jesus. I, okay, okay. God is just so faithful, man. I could only afford a pair of black pants and a black shirt because I also had to buy books. And I mean, at that point, I didn't know any better. Like, I didn't know that you could buy used stuff or buy used books. And I also probably felt really ashamed until, man, I threw that out the window. And by sophomore year, I had connected with friends and stuff like that, and they showed me the ropes. Friends that went there that also were at Lawrence, that were at the girls' club. You know what I mean? Oh, Jesus. But I couldn't afford anything else. So all I could afford was a black shirt and a black pair of pants. I think I had maybe like two pairs of pants, both black, and a black shirt. And so that's what I wore every single day. And so while other people maybe wore like a mustard colored shirt, and the next day a burgundy, and the next day a royal coral blue, whatever the options were, I wore black every single day. And man, listen, God is just so dope and so faithful because not only during that time I was able to like, I met the most amazing people. I had angels that literally bought uniforms for me, that bought my books, that ended up buying us like Christmas gifts and like all these different things. And like, it was just some people that I had never even met, they wanted to be anonymous. And it was the way God was providing for me every step of the way. And I can't recall how the bills were paid, if the like scholarship paid a portion, I had to pay a portion. I can't remember. But the point is that God looked out for me. And many times we're like, man, God doesn't care about me and all these different things. And it's like, we're not seeing how he's showing up because for me, God showed up with people, right? It was like all these different people in my life, y'all. Like, I wish I could talk about each and every one of these people one by one. And the reason I wouldn't is because they wouldn't want me to. They're just those type of people. They just go around, and I know that they've done things for other people. Um, and that's just who they are. They're just givers. And man, these different people in my life just blessed me and carried me through my time at Central Catholic High School. You know what I mean? And then I probably shouldn't do this in the same video so I don't keep boo-hooing. But the other part is that he continued to provide, right? I went to this private high school and there was some tough times because I was struggling with depression in secret. Nobody knew. People that I know from Central Catholic and knew me, and I share my story now, they're like, we never would have known. And that one I'll save for a different video. But then I then apply for colleges, and I think I applied to like 8 or 9 schools, and I got into, I want to say all 8. I pretty much got into all the schools I wanted to get into. And for me, my reach school was one of my reach schools was Northeastern University. And yeah, I probably shouldn't have done this video together. But not only did I get to go to Northeastern University, but I got a full scholarship, y'all. I was part of the first class of Torch Scholars. Now, Torch Scholars was this program that was founded by, I mean, there were amazing people that started this program, and this one man that wanted to give back. Such a beautiful soul, him and his family, that really just wanted to fund this scholarship. Now, this is full scholarship, and there was 11 of us, but there was an extra donor for the 11th student. But the 10 of us, I'm talking about like room and board, classes, like books, supplies, like meals, like full scholarship. Like, I did not have to pay for a dime. Okay. I ended up taking loans because I was silly. I didn't know any better. I won't talk about that. But we had everything paid for. And this man, started this program along with the visionary, and there was a group of people. You can go to Northeastern University's website and really look into it if you want to know more. It's a dope and amazing program that's still going on. Actually, I was part of the first class. I will stay saying that in our class, we are T1, okay? But there's, Jesus, are there 14 classes? Yikes. I can't remember, y'all. But there's been so many students after that. It's so amazing. And I love that program so much. But I was part of the first class, man. Little old me grew up in the projects, struggling. If you saw the other video, getting a can returned to me because I was donating to the poor. It turned out I was the poor. Okay. And just having nothing, man, having to study in the middle of the night with that little mouse that would visit me when the lights would go out in my building, that I had to study outside, or that after work, after being a waitress and getting home at 12 o'clock at night and be, 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm studying outside because there's no electricity, all the other hardships that I endure, to getting a full scholarship and going to Northeastern University. Okay. God is just so faithful. Faithful to provide beyond just the money. I want y'all to understand that. I was telling someone the other day, Jehovah Jireh, my provider, God knew I needed that financial provision in both high school and college, but he gave me so much more because the community I had at Central, the community I had at Northeastern, and the people along the way, the angels, the God sent angels, man, that he blessed my life with, man, listen, God is just so dope and so faithful. He is who he is. He is faithful. He's a promise keeper. He's a way maker. And there's nothing you can tell me about it, man. Listen, that's this whole series, I'm sharing it with y'all, but it's blessing my soul, because no matter how discouraged I get at the things that haven't happened, or the hardships that I see right now, or the circumstances that may seem difficult that I'm trying to endure and push through, God has been every single thing to me in the past, and he continues to be, you know what I mean? And he will continue to be, because he is who he is. He's not going to change. He hasn't changed. He can't change it. It is who he is. You know what I mean? So yeah, those are my promises. How God just really provided, made a way, and just blessed my whole soul with community, and these opportunities to go to these different institutions that then opened up doors to more later on. So those are those two promises. And even though I was boo-hooing, I just can't help it. God is so dope, man. I hope you all are joining me in this series to not only, celebrate with me and kind of hear more about what God has done in my life, but I'm hoping that you're able to reflect on your own and how God has come through for you. And I hope it encourages you that whatever you're going through, whatever you're waiting for God to do, that he will do, that he will come through, that those promises that he said to you, that he will deliver on that. He will deliver on his word. He hasn't forgotten about you. So I hope y'all are doing this with me. Hit me up, comment below, let me know, an emoji, anything, or you can send me a private message and let me know that you've been doing it with me. I would love to hear more. I love y'all, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, y'all.